Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters here on France 24. I'm Mark Owen. In this edition, can a beauty queen lift a country out of poverty and deprivation? A tall order. But Sierra Leone is looking to a young woman called Hawa Kamara to help shake off a legacy of civil war, blood diamonds, as well as the recent Ebola epidemic. Hawa Kamara is the first ever woman from Sierra Leone to enter the Miss Universe contest, the event that used to be owned by Donald Trump. Hawa's face has now been used by her country to promote and try to boost everything from tourism to inward investment. Beauty pageants are often much maligned. Women campaign against what they see as degrading objectification of their sex. But in Sierra Leone, it seems to be different. Many see winning a beauty title as a passport to a better future. And some, well, just relish the escapism of the event. Hawa Kamara didn't win the 2016 Miss Universe title. It went to Miss France. But Hawa's built a career for herself in television in West Africa, moving on and hopefully taking her beloved country with her. Our report is by Myla Mendy.
This is an evening of glamour in Freetown, the capital city of Sierra Leone. Tonight is the first edition of the National Entertainment Awards, featuring local celebrities. But she is the one that everybody is expecting. Hawa Kamara, Sierra Leone's first representative at the Miss Universe competition.
So ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you there, God, for this, and thank you to all of you, the ministers. This is such an honor to be amongst you. To my mom, to all of you that voted for me. NEA, baby, now let's go and do what Sierra Leoneans love to do. Party time.
I'm so proud. Really amazing. So proud. I'm so impressed. I'm so happy.
She's her mother's pride, but mostly today she's a national idol. At the age of 26, Hawa Kamara embodies her country's hopes for a better future. When she's not under the spotlight, Hawa goes back to the neighborhood where she grew up. This is a poor area reflecting the country's situation. Sierra Leone ranks 180th out of 186 countries in terms of human development.
Where the ball? Action. Yes, count the ball.
Hawa is an ambassadress of charm, but above all wants to pose as a role model for the local youth.
I started just like majority of them. So I have to be around and make them believe that anything is possible. Home, home. I have all of these cute little kills in the house. This girl is very noisy. She cries all the time. Fanta, say hello.
Thanks to her new international fame, Hawa hopes to promote her country abroad. While in the Philippines for the Miss Universe competition, she realized how unknown Sierra Leone really was.
I wanted them to think about Sierra Leone in a positive way, because most of the time, people outside had this, or still have this perspective about us, that they were just wars, they're not really pretty people here, they were not, that we don't really speak English, you know, because when I went there, the first question they asked was, do you need an interpreter? And I was like, for what? They said, oh, we didn't know you guys speak English, or something like that.
The West African country has been a victim of these misconceptions since 1991, when a civil war broke out. It lasted for 11 years and claimed 120,000 lives. Barely out of the war, Sierra Leone got struck by the Ebola outbreak. As a result, the country is scaring people away, whereas it once attracted tens of thousands of tourists a year. Nowadays, if a Sierra Leonean beach is crowded, it's because the youth of the country comes to meet there at the weekend. But on weekdays, there isn't a single tourist within sight on the white sand. These abandoned and shattered buildings are all that's left on Tokay Beach. It's hard to imagine that this used to be a very popular tourist spot. Eric Thompson is a hotel manager. He remembers Sierra Leone's golden age.
But since the war, you even see now what the disaster was happened. So everything was just demolished out. The French people there, they used to come here during the 80s, 70s to the 80s. when tourism was existing in Sierra Leone. This is the former Africana. So this is the nightclub of Africana Choke.
At the time, Eric Thompson was a so-called beach boy, a kind of tourist guide. Tips earned him about 26 euros a day, the equivalent of his current monthly income.
If you don't have any job for now, maybe next what you are going to think is to go and do bad things, to steal or to do other different issues.
The civil war and the Ebola epidemic have ruined Sierra Leone. Today, more than half of the population lives below the poverty line, and 65% of young people are unemployed. Sierra Leone wants to restore its image to boost tourism and the local economy. Natasha Beckley hopes she'll be able to help. She is the owner of the Miss Universe brand in Sierra Leone. As a former local Miss, she takes her role very seriously.
This is when people are going to start liking you, okay? So we'll start with you, Haja. Stop in the middle. Go. All right, come, let me teach you something. This is a pageant. Normally, when you do pageants with other organizations, it's different with me. I'm very big on structure. So whenever you stand, if this foot is being planted back, take this foot and put it right here. And then squeeze everything in, put your shoulders up, put your chin up. Suck your stomach in.
For Natasha, the beauty pageant isn't about looks.
They are ambassadors for here in the Republic of Sierra Leone. So whenever there's an organization doing something promoting the girl-child education, I expect my Miss Universe Sierra Leone to be there because you're an advocate. You're an advocate for everything that's right for the country. You're advocates for clean environments, clean water, climate change. You're advocates for, HIV/AIDS awareness, cancer awareness. We are using our contestants as advocates to be able to expose the issues that are going on in the country and how we could work together to bring change.
Will the wind of change in Sierra Leone come from a beauty pageant? The idea might seem odd in such a religious country. More than 70% of the population is Muslim, and faith is everywhere. Haja is 21 years old and is a law student. She's a regular at beauty contests, which have become very popular in the country since the end of the war. Haja is a practicing Muslim. Her family is very religious, but never prevented her from taking part in beauty pageants.
My father is a Muslim. He's an imam at different mosques, Sometimes he feels humiliated when people say, I saw your daughter, I saw her magazine, or I saw her billboard. Wow, what is she coming into? He'll be some kind of like stressed up, but he's not stopping me from doing what I want. I do my 5 daily prayers, I worship Allah, My pageantry is not stopping me from praying, and really, people just have to say.
Haja benefits from Sierra Leone's tradition of religious tolerance. But in a country where women paid a high price during the war, beauty pageants are controversial. Fatmata Taki is the president of a feminist association. Displaying young and sometimes poorly educated women on a stage doesn't strike her as a good idea.
And the greatest gift she gave us was education.
Having a women parading, just women parading the stage, naked or nearly naked, to me is not parading that's not beauty of it. Because it's not realistic, in fact. You don't have everybody of that kind of nature. You cannot say all women in Sierra Leone are like that. But actually having a pageant that will show the beauty of things and the beauty of what Sierra Leone is, that definitely will score the goal.
But the government supports these beauty pageants, and the Minister of Tourism is convinced that the beauty queens are an asset for the country.
The last tourism fair that I was on, or I participated on, was in Ballet, the ITB. And we had a lot of, opportunities there. We met with so many investors. In fact, some of them have made follow-ups. Some have even visited. And, all that is because people are now starting to see and hear different things about Sierra Leone, positive things about Sierra Leone. The Hawa Kamara participation in the Miss Universe pageant really helped this nation because people got to, first of all, know about Sierra Leone.
The Minister of Tourism is dreaming of millions of dollars in investments. And he chose Natasha Beckley, the local owner of the Miss Universe brand, to share his grandiose plans for the future.
Number 2 river to look like. This is what I intend to do at number 2. I have a whole, proposal we don't develop, see? These are like the marinas, boats they come, and all this crazy stuff.
But for now, this is what number 2 looks like. It's an idyllic beach, but it's managed with limited means by the local community.
We consider it to be like a model because the way the young people, the youths, the way they come together and organize themselves, and solicit funds from individuals, from NGOs, from embassies, they utilize the fund to establish some of these facilities.
We are still far from the flow of foreign investments the minister is hoping for. And even if hotels are being built, nothing guarantees the return of the tourists. This hotel manager is not very convinced by her country's promotional campaign.
You go along the Lumley Beach, there are a lot of hotels rising. The guest house population is increasing, but I, as a professional, I'm afraid that one day it will all just go down because there'll be nobody to stay in them. There'll be nobody coming. For me, beauty pageant is far away from tourism. Yes, the girls go, they win, but what do you do after winning?
But these questions are not on the contestants' minds. Today, they're fully focused on the selection tests that might allow them to represent their country at the next Miss Universe competition.
I can give it that to believe it. I'm feeling really great. I can't wait for the auditions to start.
Thank you. All right, go ahead. Turn around.
Are these women who dream of international fame aware of their country's expectations?
Our reporter, Marla Mendy, is here with us. Thank you so much for that fascinating film. I'm wondering, though, whether these beauty pageants actually offer something concrete to the women, the girls who win, or is it something that still remains a dream? Is it something that takes the girls somewhere else, gives them a better future, really?
It certainly helps because there are already a number of them that are at university. Hawa Kamara, like you said, she will shoot her first film. She is a brand ambassador of a big bank in Sierra Leone. And for her, it's a great opportunity that came to her. And she gets to travel. For this competition, you get to travel. For some of them, we even talk about contracts worth hundreds. They bring in hundreds of euros. The former lady in charge of the pageant, Natasha Beckley, a former beauty queen herself, profited a lot. And today she gives it back. So it's not just for the country, but also for the individual to become something better, especially when you come from a poor family.
And it's worth remembering, of course, Sierra Leone is one of the most poverty-stricken places in the world. People live on next to nothing. So one can imagine what even the smallest financial boost can achieve. The other issue, though, with a beauty pageant, especially in more well-off countries, is that there's been a change in thinking. And obviously women often find these kind of competitions degrading. Is that not the case in Sierra Leone at all?
In Sierra Leone, there is really a tradition of tolerance at all levels. First, in terms of religion, all religions are respected in an incredible manner. And to take part in this sort of thing is not viewed as degrading. To the contrary, we saw what it did for Hawa Kamara. Over there are beauty competitions nearly every day, which isn't always a good thing for the serious competitions. So people are used to it. They're used to beauty pageants and seeing beautiful women. And in Sierra Leone, we say we have the most beautiful women in West Africa. Many dispute this claim, so unlike in Western countries, women aren't being objectified. On the contrary, they can bring our culture and story to the forefront. So they look good, have good bodies, but also have things to say. And that is what we prefer to focus on.
So whilst the men obviously appreciate it, it's not done just for them. It's actually something that women enjoy taking part in. That's an interesting concept to grasp from you. In terms of what this will do for Sierra Leone, or what it's hoped it might bring to Sierra Leone, it seems really ambitious to think that, say, one woman, Hawa, a strikingly beautiful girl, obviously, but it's hard to imagine that can just cure or begin to cure the problems of the country.
It's a great challenge undertaken by the government in Sierra Leone. They base themselves on countries like Venezuela, which today, with Maduro, has a negative image.
And
in beauty competitions, Venezuelans do well. And it allows us to know good things about the country. And in the same way, the objective of the government of Sierra Leone is looking to do the same thing. Show a good side of the country so it brings investors, tourists. And all of this helps boost the country and pours funds into it so the local population benefits.
It's about creating something that feels good and making people kind of ride that wave. It's an interesting concept, a very interesting concept. Marla, thank you very much indeed for that analysis. Thank you most of all for your film, which was fascinating to see. Marla Mendy, our reporter there this week. You can, of course, see this film again via our website, france24.com. This is Reporters on France 24. Please do stay with us.